I mean, in World War I, you do have a lot of powers which have at least some amount of franchise. And
Oh,
in
yeah.
that war, I think people should have just, it would have been much better to lose the war in 1914 or 15 than to continue waging it until 1917. But no, even Britain doesn't back down,
Oh,
or France doesn't back down.
well, the problem in that war, this is another thing that I think is really helpful to do, is to the best of your abilities, write down primary adversary, secondary adversary, tertiary adversary. So take all the powers in World War I and both sides and do their primary enemy, secondary, third, and you find out it is a mess. Nothing aligns. So that if you try to get out of that war, somebody's not going to like it because that's their primary objective. And there's a lot of bad overlaps and who's going to get whatever parts of the Balkans they think at the end of this war. And so, in a way, you have World War I. You really have to sit down and look at it. I mean, if I were doing a lecture on that, I have a whole other slides that would show you this, where they're fighting parallel wars. And it's really not a good idea to either have royalty running the show or World War I is the war where militaries on all sides are running the show and civilians are doing the back seat saying, well, I don't really understand military operations. We're going to let you boys do it. Disaster. That war sets communism and fascism. It puts them on steroids. And you can argue we've been dealing with that mismanagement in one way or another ever since because for most of my life, I thought we had put fascism back in its box, and so we were down to dealing with communism. But now it seems that this very authoritarian vision, which seems to rhyme with fascism, and then you can get in a big argument what precisely is fascism, and you try to define it. But it seems like we've come full circle in the collective West, and it's toxic in a way. Dealing with all of this. So World War I is the absolutely mismanaged war. And then the people who lived through that set up these institutions that have held the peace until the present day when irresponsible leaders across the globe are not cautious enough. And here we are. And then there's a price to pay if you have a bunch of reckless drivers on the road trying to play chicken with each other. How this will all end, and I don't know the answer. So anyway, that's my reason for doing lectures on strategies. I'm going to give you concepts, some data to think about, because you're going to have to form your own opinions and your own conclusions, but try to make it evidence-based and think about things. I recommend reading things more deeply. Don't take what any one person has to say. Come to your own terms. That's the reason for doing all this. We're living in really portentous times where people may make decisions where there's no going back. I mean, if we blow our alliance system, we're going to be dealing with China alone. That won't go well, particularly if we think we're going to corner them in some way, going to go corner a great power like China and think that'll go well for us. It won't.
If you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full episode here and subscribe for more clips. Thanks.